When the Aam Aadmi Party came into existence 5 years ago, they were seen as quite revolutionary in their politics. The ruling UPA detested them, they labelled them anarchists, but because it was during the UPA 2 time, by which time the government was riddled with accusations of scams, and everyone was sick of the same old politics, the Aam Aadmi Party and its bunch of professionals and journalists and former bureaucrats and lawyers all seemed like a breath of fresh air. They thundered from Ramleela Maidan to get rid of the status quo, and while the regular politicians all scoffed at the idea, it did catch the popular imagination. The sight of a IIT Kharagpur former bureaucrat in floaters and a muffler became a social media phenom, but also gained a lot of curiosity, even admiration in some quarters. Could someone who is a lot like us regular folks actually turn around this political class? Could he challenge them? The spectacular victory in 2014, post-Modi's sweep in 2014 seemed to be their big moment in politics, and yet after that there were many sobering moments. Punjab, where it lost, and also in Goa, where they completely missed. Clean politics, good governance, viable alternative politics was their rallying cry as they started out, but 5 years later, can they still claim to uphold these qualities? When they started, they attracted fresh talent into politics, unlikely professionals. But is that now claim also something that other parties have adopted? Some of those professionals and lawyers, those unlikely politicians have also left them. But before we talk about all of this, first let's take a look at what AAP claims it has achieved in the last 5 years. So, is the AAP dream now bust? Well, to talk about that, we have with us from the AAP party, we have Ashish Khaitan. We also have two people who were initially with the Aam Aadmi Party but left along the way. From the BJP, we have Shazia Ilmi, Prashant Bhushan, senior advocate, and also someone who started his own Swaraj Abhiyan. And in studio with me, we have Sabah Naqvi. If I can just start with the two people who were there first, and then we'll go to Ashish Khaitan to get his reaction. And what we'll do is, because there are so many aspects of this discussion as AAP has completed 5 years, we're going to just break it up into little subheads because there's so many aspects which they started out with. So if we started with the first thing of becoming a major political force to reckon with, has that now been dented? Is it now limited just to the capital? Shazia, what do you say about that? Because when they started after Delhi, it looks like they were really going to take over many other states. What do you make of that?
No, and I think one of the reasons why people stopped trusting AAP and has lost its credibility in such a huge manner is because they forayed into Punjab and politics of other states instead of really consolidating and concentrating on what was needed to be done and fulfillment of their promises in the state. It was a huge historic win, as we all know, and nobody can grudge them that. But the fact of the matter is that there were 2-3 huge milestones, I would say, for lack of another word, maybe for the opposition, because they just showed that AAP was no different from any other party and was more of the same, and also a Me Too party. The reason why it became a force to start with, to reckon with, is because it's sought to be an alternative force, a force that was transformational in nature. But it became more of the same and worse, if I dare say so. So I think that has really done them in where their credibility goes.
Ashish Khaitan, if we look at just Gujarat, because everybody is talking about Gujarat, it's very interesting what the AAP is trying to do. Initially, we heard that, you know, after things didn't go well in Haryana, you were going to stick to consolidating your base. And yet in Gujarat, we see 20 odd candidates being floated. Is the AAP now stuck between being a regional party, a Delhi-based party, and also having national ambitions that it started out with?
So, Sunetra, I would say that I don't see AAP as a political party as such. AAP is still a movement, is a movement for cleanliness and honest politics. It's a movement to decentralize power, and it's a movement to change the usual way of doing politics. And that's what AAP has successfully delivered over the last 3 years, while the critics will always disagree with it. But the fact of the matter is that in Delhi today, AAP has managed to halve the power tariff than what they were 4 years ago under Sheila Dikshit, while everywhere else in the country the power tariff have gone up. AAP has managed to give water supply to 300 or more colonies, and its work in health and education has been exemplary. 10,000 new classrooms have been built, and the Mohalla clinics, where every person in Delhi, our vision is should have access to primary medical health care within 15 kilometers of the radius of his residence. That is well on its track. As far as the point that whether AAP is confined to Delhi and has not been able to expand its footprints, I would say this, that for the first few years there was a spurt in the growth of Aam Aadmi Party. Now, in the kind of atmosphere that is prevailing in the country, where there has been an unprecedented assault on democracy and there is rise of authoritarianism, in the given scenario, AAP will expand, but its expansion will be slow and gradual. We have started with 20 seats in Gujarat. We have become the principal opposition party in Punjab, and in very first foray in Goa, we managed to notch up 7% of vote share, and I think all this is historical.
Okay, so you're saying that it's because of the kind of politics that is on right now, and really, Prashant Bhushan, do you buy that? Do you think that they're actually moving ahead from and taking along their dream from what they started? I know that you've had differences with the party, which is why you left.
You see, AAP was not supposed to be a regular political party. It was supposed to be a force to transform the nature of politics. Unfortunately, after the initial promise, because of which it got so much support, it has thereafter degenerated into a normal political party, but which lacks even the depth and the understanding of normal political parties do. And that is why today it is no longer seen as a viable political force in the country. You see, the promise was that it would transform politics by bringing about transparency, internal democracy, participatory politics, and thinking about policies from a public interest point of view. Each one of these promises have been given a go-by. Transparency was let go, even the accounts, etc. were not being put on the website, they were all taken out of the website, the donations, etc. Candidate selection, transparency was given a go-by. We had decided that the names of the prospective candidates would be put out on a website. That was given a go-by. All kinds of criminals, etc. were brought in, double crossers, dal badlus were brought in as candidates. Internal democracy was given a go-by, and Arvind was allowed to become a dictator virtually in the party.
Right.
Participatory politics was given a go-by, and even policies to be thought of in public interest. We had formed, when the party was formed, we had formed 34 expert committees on 34 different issues,
right,
who had given their reports. When the time came for our working committee to consider those, Arvind said that throw these in the dustbin, we will decide policies as and when things come. And the result is that we are seeing this Delhi pollution every winter without any thought and without any implementation of even the policies that are suggested by other credible organizations like Center for Science and Environment, etc.
As soon as you mentioned pollution, the AAP has maintained that it's a center issue as well. But some of the other points that you mentioned, I just wanted to get Ashish Khaitan to just respond to that. Please respond to these, some of the things, the promises that Prashant Bhushan is reminding us of, the fact of transparency, that accountability of each candidate, all those details being put on the website, we still don't see that.
First of all, I would like to say that AAP is the only party in the country which takes all its donations through check and through banking channels. And though there is a rule which allows political parties to not disclose their donations below 20,000 rupees, AAP discloses all its donations, and every detail has been given to the Election Commission and to the income tax authorities.
Okay.
As far as taking some of the details off the website is concerned, it was a double whammy for us. One, we were taking all donations through absolutely transparent means. But what was happening, because all our declarations were in public domain, the income tax department and the other agencies of the central government, they were targeting those donors. So it was to protect the privacy of our donors. We took some of the names off the website, but it doesn't mean that the names are not available with the agencies. The names are available with the agencies. All our donations are available with the agencies.
And about making the candidate selection
transparent. I think what we are seeing is a witch hunt.
Just a brief rebuttal there, Sunanda. Just a brief rebuttal.
Yeah, Sunetra,
just a brief rebuttal.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So how do you explain the fact that companies like Skyline, Goldcoin, and 4 others which had no fund to show for itself, which had less than 10,000 rupees in the overall kitty as the basic capital, would give 50 lakhs checks each, which did not exist, which are basically Khoka companies, shell companies, which were depositing 50 lakhs in check. Yeah, check is a word, but how do you explain that? So these are smart things that are done, and I'm sure other parties also indulge in the same, but this was not expected of Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay.
The different account was given to Election Commission, and a different list was given also to the to Income Tax Department, and a different one to Election Commission, a different one shown on the website, and God knows what the real picture is. So all is not very clear, and there is a clever effort being made.
Yes.
If you see Satyendra Jain and how the Benami properties were being used, you find a clear link that there were lots of wrongdoing. There's been a medical scam of medicines over 300
we
crores.
Can't really sit on judgment on that,
because
that is
tanker.
involved. But I just
so
wanted
these are very serious.
I wanted to get in Sabha Naqvi over here, because we heard the 3 politicians, the Aam Aadmi Party, and we also heard someone who has a stake, which is Prashant Bhushan. He had differences and he left over there. Sabha Naqvi, as the neutral commentator over here, I just want to take you through some of the things that people seem to get attracted towards the AAP for. Also the Pew research, which said in 2015 about 60% people, their opinion poll shows 60% people liked the AAP party. That had now come down very recently till 39%. That's what they're saying. Now I just want to point out some of the things like, people seemed people like us, regular people joining that party. Do you think that still holds true 5 years later?
No, I don't, but at the same time, let's recognize, I'm not going to get into the bitterness of people who have parted ways.
Right,
and all.
right.
Let me play the analyst here. AAP remains a very, very important experiment with many, many flaws, because where did outsiders, non-traditional players, where else have they broken into politics? They did that. They did that with phenomenal techniques in Delhi. They produced a cadre, they produced booth management, they had a better understanding of cadre and all of that than the Congress party had.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
They had it down to the booth, the science of election.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about whether, I'm not going to argue at all with Prashantji, because I have the greatest respect for him.
Right.
Ideas about movement.
Right.
I'm talking simply
What
as a
worked
political reporter.
Yeah.
What made them work?
Right.
What made it work? They did a phenomenal job in the way they went about the conquest of Delhi.
So getting cadres,
getting people involved with very limited funds,
right.
New players, the caste is all wrong. You all have these middle class IITs and professional boys at the leadership level. They were changing the rules of the game, and they had done so.
Right.
Let us also not, and of course they have multiple flaws, including the manner in which very soon after Prashant and Yogendra had left the party. That was a very, very shocking episode. Having said that, they have obviously erred, but they have also they have faced the kind of persecution that I don't remember any other political party facing. You know it, we all know it.